This is Optimal Health Daily, episode 1020. Just because it can fit your macros doesn't mean it should. By Ben Johnson with RomanFitnessSystems.com. And I'm your host and narrator, Dr. Neil Malik. Happy Wednesday and welcome back to Optimal Health Daily, where I read to you from popular health and fitness blogs to help you optimize your health. But on Fridays, I do something a little different. On Fridays, I respond to your questions. Now, it's Wednesday, and like I do every Wednesday, it's time for a bit of inspiration. So here we go. Quote, "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive." Howard Thurman. And with that, now that we're in the right frame of mind, let's get to today's post and start optimizing your life. Just because it can fit your macros doesn't mean it should. By Ben Johnson with RomanFitnessSystems.com. In my World of Warcraft days, I was a force to be reckoned with. My level 70 Troll Shaman was built to dominate in PvP battlegrounds and big PvE raids. I was spec restoration and my heals were uber elite. My team dominated on the battlegrounds, but it didn't come easily. Day after day, I spent hour after hour living in a world of HP and mana, intellect and stamina, the stamina of my magical avatar as well as my own. Skipping sleep to play World of Warcraft was easy for me, and I used it to my advantage. I got really good. But alas, yes, there was a cost. Sure, I could stay up late, take a 3-hour nap, crush an energy drink, and be mostly okay at school, but it wore me down. Life became a fog. My grades grew mediocre, my friendships weakened, and I was constantly falling asleep in class. Before long, I went from revering to regretting every night I spent playing the game. As it continued to sap my energy, I started merely going through the motions of life without reaping any of its benefits. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. I shouldn't have played so much World of Warcraft. I know that now. And in the defense of online gamers everywhere, I actually learned valuable life skills. How to hustle and make connections with others, how to make smart investments in the auction house, how to reach my goals when there were surprise elements at play, and how to work hard and make a name for myself. These principles are valuable, but the return on the investment of my time and effort spent in-game were just that, in the game. I had nothing real to show for it. Just because I could stay up late playing video games doesn't mean I should have. The long-term effects were disastrous. You see where I'm going with this, right? With if it fits your macros, or IIFYM, some people act like it's a free-for-all in terms of the kinds of food they can eat. Just because you can get shredded with flexible dieting doesn't mean you should. If it fits your macros is all the rage. By now you know what if it fits your macros is and how to calculate your macros. No? Shh, it's okay. It's the antithesis of clean eating, so we're going to skip that. I'm not here to bash it, because it absolutely works. Who doesn't want to eat junk food and get jacked? It has something for everyone. Bros get to eat Pop-Tarts, busy moms get to enjoy their wine, and I get to feed my inner fat kid with as much cheesecake as I want, as long as it fits my macros, of course. As long as it fits within your prescribed macros, you are good to go. This is a fact, and yet, just because it works, doesn't mean you should do it. Now, I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but before you hang me with your fruit by the foot, hear me out. If it fits your macros origin story. According to Alan Aragon, If It Fits Your Macros started online in bodybuilding forums. He talks all about it in a video, but the too long didn't watch summary is this. Bodybuilding newbies started threads asking if they could eat foods that weren't your stereotypical contest prep foods like peanut butter, cheese, whole eggs, chicken with the skin on, and so on. The answer was, if it fits your macros, go ahead and eat it. Over time, it got tiring to write it all out, and If It Fits Your Macros was born. Then it snowballed into a pro-junk food diet plan. That wasn't the intent. Yeah, stuff can get out of control pretty quickly on the internet. If It Fits Your Macros is a perfect example. What started as advice to a specific group of bodybuilding culture got stretched and mutated into a dietary strategy largely based on eating junk. You can achieve your body composition goals by just making sure to hit your macros, but the bad news is that a junk food diet is not going to do you any favors if you care about your long-term health. That doesn't mean If It Fits Your Macros is useless. For one, it gives us a ton of anecdotal evidence that you can be flexible in your dieting, which is great if you're like me and like crushing pints of salted caramel corn. If foods like that fit your macros, they're not going to ruin your progress or keep you from your goals. The phrase clean eating can be ambiguous. Sometimes you just need to grab a bagel for breakfast as you're hurrying out the door, and that's okay. It's when you eat junk food all day, every day, that your long-term health takes a hit. If it fits your macros also shows us that if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. This holds especially true in the fitness space. There are no panaceas or pills, no magic bullet, or revolutionary secret that will make it easy. You can't expect to be able to eat junk food without some sort of trade-off. If the food fits your macros and is eaten in moderation, you can eat your favorite foods, lose fat, build muscle, and do it all without ruining your health. You just have to do it the right way. Earning your Pop-Tarts. Before you worry about what you can sneak into your macros, make sure you're hitting your micros. Micronutrients are the vitamins and minerals your body needs to function properly. Turns out, Grandma was right. You should eat your fruits and vegetables. A good goal to aim for would be to have at least 5 to 9 servings of fruits and veggies each day. That's more than most people get. And if you know you're not getting enough greens or grapes, toss another serving of fruits and veggies or a green juice into your diet and slowly work up to the goal. Every fiber of my being. Most often, you'll just be tracking protein, carbs, and fat when it comes to your macros. But don't forget about fiber. Getting enough fiber is a big deal for your digestive tract and overall health. And luckily, it's pretty easy to get if you're eating enough servings of fruits and vegetables. A good jumping off point is to have 14 grams of fiber for every 1,000 calories you consume. So if you're eating 2,000 calories, that means you need to get 28 grams of fiber each day. Beans, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and bran are a few of the most fibrous foods. You want a body that gets everything it needs to function optimally and help you to crush your workouts, because when you're hitting your micros, you can get more creative with how you hit your macros. You'll be able to shed pounds of fat, pack on slabs of muscle, and maintain long-term health. Closing out with my World of Warcraft metaphor. Back in high school, I could stay up to the wee hours of the morning playing online video games, which after a while proved itself to be a horrible idea. When it comes to your health and fitness, you need to make sure that everything you're doing is going to benefit you in the long run. In order to get the best results possible with If It Fits Your Macros, make sure you first fuel your body with what it needs, and then you can give it what it wants. You just listened to the post titled, Just Because It Can Fit Your Macros Doesn't Mean It Should, by Ben Johnson with RomanFitnessSystems.com. Isn't it interesting how sometimes we kind of hear what we want to hear? When we hear of a diet that seems too good to be true, and yet we see all of these success stories from those that have tried it, we start to convince ourselves that maybe this is finally the plan that's going to work for me. But as Ben said, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. If It Fits Your Macros seems to support that cliche. Now, Ben actually made an interesting point that I want to repeat. He talked about how by just focusing your attention on the macronutrients, carbs, protein, and fat, you're really only paying attention to half the equation. You may be missing out on some important micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals. In fact, at a recent national conference, I presented, virtually of course, not in person, the results of a study I conducted and found that some common fad diets may be low in some very important vitamins and minerals. And these vitamins and minerals are very important not only for maintaining health, but preventing future disease as well. So when we think of meal planning, by focusing all of your attention on whether or not you're getting enough carbs, protein, and fat, you may be missing other nutrients that will support your overall health. And that'll do it for another edition of Optimal Health Daily. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you back here tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.